On this episode of the 80/20 Drummer,
I'm sort of freaking out about a few things.
I face the challenge that won't die.
Okay, turns out maybe I'm also tired.
I've decided to cover two tunes by knee-body saxophonist and personal hero Ben Wendell. Not only do I need to up-level my playing in some unconventional ways just to be able to attack these tunes, I've scheduled a trip to Montana right in the middle of the challenge. Dealing with frustration, adapting to challenges on the fly,
I think I thoroughly annoyed my neighbors.
and a lesson in the importance of not practicing.
Didn't really get a whole lot in.
All of that on this episode. I've been a fan of Ben Wendell since way back. Ever since I saw his supergroup at Corzo 2 years ago, I knew that the record based on those tunes, Frame, was going to be a killer. I'm happy that this YouTube channel finally affords me the ability to publicly cover a couple tunes on Ben's record.
Oh yeah, who am I? I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel, a thirst to get better at the drums, and apparently zero sense of shame. Every month I tackle a different quixotic drum challenge and put it on the internet for everyone to see if I succeed or fail. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Let's get back to the show.
The album is full of great tunes, but for this challenge, I've chosen maybe the two most contrasting tunes on the record. Blocks, which is a minimal tune based on an ostinato and is slow and requires a lot of pocket and taste. And Frame, which is more like a Stan Kenton or Ira Carey charge, with lots of ensemble figures, fast tempo, and just plenty of things to remember and lock up with. In short, the perfect vehicle to kick my own ass.
What do you do if you just had a soul-crushing bout with your own mortality the day before and a flight to Montana in an hour and a half? Why, come in and shed, obviously.
I've given myself 10 days to complete this challenge, but what that extra time means is that the recordings need to be studio quality. In order to do that, I need to invoke the title of this series and find the 80/20 of the tunes. The few most important things which are going to give me access to the greatest impact in the shortest amount of time. Fresh off a frustrating session recording Evan Marion's Sweatin', which I'll cover in a later reality show episode, I jumped right back into the shed to begin the challenge on Ben's tune. The tune Blocks is in 9, and I identified 3 primary challenges that I would want to tackle in order to nail it. Number 1, the pocket, and what a lot of other players call coordination, what I like to call the personal drum troop, which just means locking up with myself. Number 2, phrasing over the 9 and catching the figures in the bass, which come back between all of the solo breaks. Finally, number 3, nailing the dotted quarters in the left foot that Nate Wood did so well so that you can't not play them. On day 1, I've only got 90 minutes, and then I need to catch a flight from LaGuardia for a long overdue trip to Montana to visit my family. Thanks to my Facebook community, a number of whom stepped up to hook me up with places to practice, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to continue the challenge while I'm in Montana. And the filmmaker in me is a sucker for all the B-roll I'm gonna get.
That's what I'm talking about, right there.
There's something about getting out of the city every once in a while that does you good. Something everyone who came to Montana and stayed there was hip to. As soon as you get off the plane, you can feel your blood pressure dropping.
Hey kids, what's up? Guess where I am? You see that mountain behind me? I don't know if you can see it. That's right, I'm in Montana, and the only 2 other people in town just rode by on their bicycles. I have a talent for finding other people when I'm filming myself on the street.
You won't see my parents in this documentary, out of respect for their privacy, but they are the reason I'm here. In every sense of the word. Mom and Dad, if you're watching, thanks. One of my Facebook friends hooked me up with a great local drummer in Montana. A guy who, it turns out, was a hero of mine when I was growing up. Over the years, he's invited a number of the best drummers on earth over to his place to hang and shed when they were in my hometown playing at a place called Daily Jazz. And it's humbling to sit where they sat as I begin day 2 of this challenge. I'm taking maximum advantage of this unfamiliar kit to work on locking up with myself as I dig into block. I'm also using a concept called hyperclocking that you've heard me talk about before, which just means simulating a more difficult condition than the one I'll need to face on the recording, so I'm inoculated to it.
Hey, so Montana's shed number 1 postlude. Oh my gosh. I just met a dude who is like one of my childhood heroes. I don't know if he's comfortable with my sharing his name on the internet, so I'm gonna keep that under wraps, but the guy was amazing. He invited me over to his house. He's got the ultimate shed studio, which hopefully I'll be able to show you in greater detail, but yeah, got deep into Ben's tunes, hung, talked, having a great Montana experience so far.
I'm ecstatic. It's been a good practice day, and I still have an hour before I meet my family for dinner. So I take a walk down the river, past my childhood haunt of Caris Park, under the fading sun and in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains. My naive belief that I can do both family and practice to the max is about to get a wake-up call.
So yo, it's day 2 in Montana, but can I hold this thing straight? How difficult is that?
When practice arrangements fall through my second day in Montana, I'm not happy.
I don't get to practice, which I hate. Today, I was supposed to hang with another drummer out here in Montana. We were gonna play together, we were gonna play duo, we're gonna chord some stuff, we were gonna get it on tape, and then he had car trouble.
But then, that's not why I'm here. Luckily, the next day, I'm back to it. Since I only have an hour in the shed before I need to go do family activities, I spend it working on a mechanical exercise, which, in retrospect, was a weak move because I could have dug more deeply into the tunes. With some time to kill after my family hang was over, I faced a choice. Go back and do a second shed session, or use that time to spend more quality time with my family.
I'm not here to play the drums, I'm here to see my family, so using this opportunity to fight my neurosis, and we'll get back on it tomorrow in New York. Already.
I needed to remind myself of an important lesson. Music is a means to an end, the same as learning a language or climbing a mountain. In the end, the entire concept behind 80-20 is to maximize your time practicing so you free up time to live your life. I consider it Nate 1, practice addiction 0.
Okay, so walking diary. I'm right in the middle of Denver Airport. Ask me how many fucks I give.
None of which should be construed to mean that I didn't go straight to the shed minutes after touchdown at LaGuardia the next day.
You wanna know why I live in New York? This is why.
It's important to get out of the city and experience the feeling of my hometown. But going back reminds me why I live here. I'm only one of millions of people pushing themselves every day to get better. And it's a reminder that I'm nothing special and that we're all just people trying to get better on our own.
Yeah.
Now that I'm back in New York, it's time for the Rocky 3 montage.
Okay, what are we doing today? I'm challenging myself to jump directly into learning the most difficult parts of the tunes today.
I want to leave myself 2 days to record things at the end of this challenge. So that means I only have 3 remaining practice days to work through both of these tunes to my satisfaction.
Practicing frame with brushes with the macro time metronome.
I've worked a little bit on frame over the vacation, but I haven't dug into it enough. So let's discuss it here. Frame is definitely the more technically demanding of the 2 tunes, and I decided to focus on 2 main elements. First, the micro time precision pocket angle. I used brushes to shed this because of the hyperclocking concept. Brushes are more difficult and provide more creative limitation than sticks. I used 16th offbeats on the metronome. And second are those bitchy big band figures at the end. I've never tried this before, but I am filling the shoes of Nate Wood, who is known to memorize tunes by learning them on guitar and hardly ever uses charts on the gig. I don't have Nate's ability to learn things on guitar, but what I can do is sing. Badly. To learn to sing Ben's shout chorus figures, I use exactly the same process that I would transcribing a drum solo. I just choose small, manageable chunks, loop them over and over until I get them down, and then gradually expand.
Today I'm doing the rough draft recordings of the 2 tunes.
Day 9 is the first of 2 recordings. I do takes of both blocks and frame.
Okay, so real-time reaction as I listen to these. Frame, pretty good. Definitely need to do more homework on the solo section shout choruses so I can really nail that. And just, if I have some extra time, do some extra work on the micro time, because that always sounds good. Just work on listening and locking up more, try to be less fancy. Blocks. Pretty happy with the groove, with the feel, always room to tighten it up, so I'm going to spend the last 20 minutes of this session just trying to push myself even further.
After listening to both takes, I decided that blocks is good enough to go with the can. I want to tighten up the ensemble figures on frame even more, and I have just 1 more day to do that. So, that evening, it's back to the drawing board. Or the singing board.
I think I thoroughly annoyed my neighbors. What's up, kids? It's final exam day here at the 80/20 Drummer.
Day 10 is the final day of this challenge, and it's also the first day I get access to my swanky new practice studio. As the last day of this challenge, it was do or die. Either I got a decent take from this, or I went public with a not so decent take.
So, just finished frame. Happy about it. It was probably the most difficult and also exciting thing I've done in my drum life.
I can tell from watching myself in the footage that even though the pressure was on this day, I was having fun. There was 2 things that I think allowed me to relax during the take. Number 1, my days of preparation kind of gave me the confidence that I put in the work, so I didn't really have anything to prove. But ironically, the lesson I was reminded of in Montana, the music is only a means to an end, of finding fulfillment so that we can live life and share time with the people most important to us. Anyway, it's been fun and exhausting as usual, and we'll catch up with you soon in another episode. Peace.